Hello and welcome to part 2 of our series on screenwriting with Karel Segers. Hello, Karel.
Hi, Phil.
Now, Karel, you teach here at CIFA, but you also have a life beyond this place.
Yeah.
You run workshops around the world and all sorts of things.
I've lectured in the Middle East. I've lectured in Asia. I've just returned from a European trip where I was teaching Swedish screenwriters at a dedicated Swedish screenwriting school. And that was in the area where Ingmar Bergman, one of the greatest European filmmakers who ever lived, he lived on an island called Gotland, and that's where the school is.
And you had to teach in Swedish?
Yeah, I wish. I know a few words in Swedish, but I don't want to say those on camera. But no, not in English. Their English is pretty good.
Well, in this tutorial, we're going to look at finding story ideas. So how does one find a good story idea?
Well, you sometimes have these people come to me and I have this amazing idea. It's this guy who wakes up and he realizes that he is the best screenwriter who ever lived. Exactly. So, and you think anyone is going to be interested in this ever? So yeah, you don't go with that one idea that you wake up with. You know, it's often the case. People have an idea under the shower and then they try to polish that for the next 17 years. Well, no, you've got way more ideas in you. Everybody does. It's just a way of, you got to find the process to get them out. And, brainstorming is a very well-known buzzword, but how do you do that? I always say, don't be happy with 1 to 5 ideas. I start my classes with 20 minutes and everybody has to come up with 30 ideas. 30 sparks, doesn't matter. They don't have to be good. Because later you can look back at them and combine them and weed them out and elaborate on it. Everybody's got masses of ideas. So don't settle for that one idea.
Now, you're quite right. A lot of people, they got this one brilliant idea and they pound on it for years. Yeah. And when ideas are cheap, and in fact ideas cannot be copyrighted, as we know.
Correct.
It's not until you put them in some form that they're worth anything. Yeah. So ideas mean nothing until you start working on them.
It's very true. A lot of people don't know that they cannot be copyrighted and that they are literally not worth anything. So it's not until you've actually written it down into a certain structure, a certain form, that you can protect them.
And even a bad idea can still potentially be a good story once you work it out.
I don't think there are any bad ideas, just how you do it. I mean, even that crappy idea about the screenwriter. I mean, if you do that well, you bring it into a different angle, in space, in the past, with a serial killer behind it, combine things in a way that's never been done before, because nothing
And
is
it becomes a William Holden film, what was it called?
Sunset Boulevard.
Sunset Boulevard,
yeah,
which is about a screenwriter.
Yeah, Dead in the Pool. Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's right. There you go. It's proven. It can be done. But then you got to work on it, and you need to figure out what is the heart of that idea? That idea that you have, because what I just said, realize he's the best screenwriter, that's all internal. That's not visual. So you can forget about that right there. So great movie ideas are about action, about visible action. Even if you talk about characters, you cannot talk about a character until you see how that character behaves and how that behavior changes, right? So I would say good movie ideas have either one of 2 components. Either something big happens, what if, and then ... Or a character tries to achieve something, right? An event or an action. That's how a spark usually starts, how a movie idea usually starts. And then you start playing with it.
Well,
if it doesn't have either, forget about it.
There are some ideas that are better served as a movie and some that are better maybe as a novel or a theatre piece, you would say. Yeah,
very, very true. And Robert McKee said that, and that's one of the things that he's absolutely right about. Some ideas are not visual. They're not supposed to go on the screen. There's some novels that are not supposed to be adapted, and people still try it. And when the novel is big enough, and any great bestseller will get adapted. And ultimately, maybe there is someone who will do it properly. The Great Gatsby, how many times have they tried to do that?
Well, you look at something like Life of Pi, which was one of those books that they thought, you cannot make this into a movie because of the nature of the story. Yeah. But you've got to find a way to visualize that and make that work.
It's true. And sometimes the reason the book was successful is about something that is inherent to a novel, to a book, which is not visual.
So good visual ideas is what we want for screenwriting. And don't limit yourself to one. Come up with several ideas a day. And how many do you I've usually got several ideas running at once anyway. So
if you are a filmmaker, if you want to be creative, you've got to be creative all the time. If you have this one idea and then you don't do anything for the next month or a year, you're not a filmmaker, you're not a creative. Creatives have a brain that's constantly churning out ideas. They don't have to be good. Just write down. And then if you look at it maybe in a month or a year, you look back at those early crappy ideas with a new fresh angle, maybe something is in there still.
And don't get discouraged by an idea that you think is no good. If you work on it for a while, it can be brought into something good. Although, that said, you've got to quickly realise this is not a movie.
There are two rules about brainstorming, right? And one is quantity over quality. Get out as much as you can, because I also believe there's a barrier. We're all afraid, and we need to break through that barrier. And the only way to break through that is to just write a lot of crap down on the paper. Get it out, and then you get to the good stuff. So quantity over quality.
That's your first draft. Vomit out the first draft.
And the second one is defer judgment, which means nothing's bad. Anything you write down, right now, it is great. Later we'll look back. Later we'll use that left side of the brain. Now we use the right side. Be creative. Let it out.
Okay. Vomit out those good ideas, let them out, and happy writing. Thank you very much, Karel.